Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to shoot a quick video because I have some exciting news that I wanted to talk about. So yesterday I had my first shot of testosterone, which was crazy, and I still can't believe that that came out of my mouth. So I wanted to share with you guys, I guess this might just be a journal for me. The date was June 7th, 2018. Basically, I have been going back and forth for a while about whether or not to start tea. Honestly, I was really afraid of how other people react. I think, like, as a person, I put a lot of weight on what other people think about me or how they perceive who I am. And I just thought that I wasn't, like, trans enough to do this. But I think there was a lot of, like, emotions and processing that went into this. I've been thinking about, or I've been contemplating starting tea for about a year before I actually did. And it was really, I had to, for myself, and I think, like, it is, like, a very personal journey for everyone. And as I've shared before, I'm Christian and I have a great faith in God, and I truly believe that He loves me as His child. And I think before I started tea, I wanted to make sure that that was all right with my God. And that is a very personal journey. And so I kind of came to the conclusion that I needed to do this for myself. I couldn't worry about what my family would think or what my friends were going to say. I knew that this is who I am, and I was created trans and I was created queer, and I'm taking ownership of that by starting testosterone. And honestly, I was so happy yesterday. Basically, I wanted to give you a little lowdown. So I moved to Boston at the end of April, and I already had a primary care physician here. So I just went to see her, and I told her that I was trans and that I was looking into starting testosterone. Previous to this, I had already been seeing a therapist that specializes in gender and sexuality for about a year. And so I was really looking into starting testosterone while I was in New York, but I thought it would be just kind of difficult, like moving to a different state and switching doctors and all that stuff. So I decided to wait. So my doctor connected me to another doctor at Fenway Health, Dr. Joseph Baker. And so I had an initial appointment where I went and we just talked about, like, what testosterone would do to my body and what I wanted to look like and why I was doing this. And I just think, like, my first experience was a really positive one. Everyone was, like, in the office was super respectful of me. They used my name that's not on my insurance. They asked me what my pronouns were, and, like, all around they were just phenomenal. And I felt really comfortable just accepting myself and being who I am, because I was around people who weren't asking me to explain my entire identity to them. Of course, they wanted to make sure that this was the right choice for me and I was making a sound decision and I understood all the risks and all that, but I felt no judgment from the staff and I felt open enough to answer their questions honestly, which was really great. So I made this appointment for June 7th, and since the time between my first appointment and this appointment, I had a lot of doubt. I really struggled with whether I want or not, like, this was worth it. Honestly, I went through a lot of turmoil with, like, telling people and having to come out and thinking about, like, what is it going to be like when I look different and I don't have the cover of passing as female anymore, and what is that going to mean for employment and, like, who I am and what I want to do. And I knew like in my heart that this is who I am and it's what I wanted, but I wasn't sure if I was ready to deal with all of the outside factors that affect my life and how I function in the world as a human being. So I kept like looking for validation and confirmation that yes, I am trans, and like yes, there are people that support me and all this stuff. And honestly, what really solidified my mind in starting testosterone was I was reading a book, and I highly recommend it. It's called Everybody Always. It's by Bob Goff. Basically, there's a chapter called Green Lights, and he talks about how we all are looking for more green lights in our lives. We all want validation, we all want confirmation, and we're all waiting to get however many green lights before we do something that might be scary, even if we feel a calling to do it. And he talked about basically how you're never going to get all the green lights you want. But as a Christian, we know that there are green lights we can rely on when we are taking that step forward in faith, even though we're scared. He said that we can be sure that God loves us in this decision that we're making. We know that he delights in our attempts to follow him and his commandments and live how he created us to live. And honestly, knowing that like there is our Father loves me no matter what. He loves that I am making attempts to follow him, and he loves that I want to be myself, how he created me to be, was super reassuring. Even if other people didn't understand what I was doing, or they didn't understand, they didn't see the reason for it. And another thing that Bob Goff says in his book that I really took to heart was he talks about how a lot of the times we are fake because we think that that's what God wants to see. But if we are living a fake life, we are telling other people who are looking in that God's love is fake as well. Like, God's love is not authentic, so I need to perform to earn his love. But God's love is the most authentic love that there is. It's unconditional and it never fails. There's no exceptions to God's love. So to show people that God's love is authentic, we need to live authentic lives, being true to who we were, to who we are, to who we're created to be. Which honestly, I read that when I was on a plane and I almost started crying. It was just so liberating to know that I can be authentic and God is not going to be mad at me. He's not going to send me to hell for living how I feel in my heart that I am meant to live. And I know that those feelings come from him, and that this doubt and this fear that I'm feeling is negative. It's the devil trying to sway me in a way that is not true to myself, and it's not true to my God. And that was really formative for me. So I decided to keep my testosterone appointment, even though I was super scared. I was really nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I think like going into this, I really I did know all of the risks and all of the potential medical issues and all of that stuff. I really did understand it. And, excuse me, it just got to a point where I realized that I needed to do this in spite of that all medical procedures have risks, and the benefits in this case are going to way outweigh any risks that there are. So I went into the doctor's office, super nervous, and I was supposed to get a blood test, but I was very confused and I didn't know like where to go, or this was like a new doctor's office, so I wasn't really sure. So I went up to the floor where my doctors are, and I met with him and we talked about it, and he answered kind of the last minute questions that I had about testosterone and the effects and what starting it would look like. And so he decided to put me on a 2-week injection. So that means I would, for at least the first couple of weeks, I'd need to go back to Fenway Health to have a nurse help me do the injection, which honestly I was completely fine with, because taking the injection myself was what I was most nervous about. Just because I've never dealt with needles before or anything like that. I mean, of course I've gotten like vaccinations and stuff, but there's always been another person who's been helping me do that. And I know that this is going to be a thing that I have to do myself, which is really scary. But he was very patient, and so we started looking at the schedule, and he realized that I'm going to be on vacation for one of the weeks that I was supposed to come to Fenway Health. So then we were trying to figure out, like, can I skip that week, or can I like kind of change my 2-week plan so I would start testosterone on the 14th instead of yesterday. And honestly, I told him that was okay. Like, I didn't want to, if it was important that I took a shot every 2 weeks, I didn't want to like jeopardize whatever could happen. So I told him it was fine to reschedule for next week, and he stepped out of the room. And honestly, I felt so down. I was kind of surprised at how sad that I did feel, that I wasn't going to start today, or yesterday rather. So then the doctor that I was seeing, he is actually a doctor in residence. So he explained to me that he's been doing this for 3 years. So he conferred with the senior doctor on staff, who said that it was completely fine with my dosage and my levels, that I could skip a week when we went on vacation and then just come in the following week, which honestly I was like so over the moon happy, which also shocked me that my emotions in this time, even though I was so nervous, were so heightened. Like, I was just so excited, and that further confirmed that this was the right choice for me. So he had a nurse come in, and she had all the materials with her, and she basically taught me how to inject myself in my thigh. And she did it for me the first time. Honestly, thank God, because I was like shaking and I could not do that myself. And I'm gonna go back and she'll help me do it again. And I was like really nervous, because I think a lot of the stories you hear online are horror stories. Like, people want to tell you about how they bled a lot, or like really hurt, or whatever horrible experiences they've had. But honestly, this was the easiest injection I've ever had. It didn't hurt. I could barely even feel it, honestly. I had it like right at the top of my thigh. My flu shot hurt worse. It was not bad at all. It like barely bled. And even now, like looking at it, like the injection site, I can't even tell like where the needle went in. I'm like, if I like touch where it went in, it like is a tiny bit sore, but like it doesn't even hurt that much after the fact. So I was so pleased, and the nurse was so patient with me and like answered all my questions, and she was just so helpful, and I was so thankful to have such a positive experience starting this, because I think where I am mentally right now, I know who I am, but I'm still looking for that outside validation, which I know is something that I need to work on, and I need to learn how to assert myself and my beliefs and have faith that this is the right choice for me. Another thing that I was reading this weekend from the same book was about how if we had all of the validation that we're always looking for, there would be no need for faith, because there would be no question, which I think is so true. I am having faith in this process, in this journey, and I know that's going to get me there in the long run. I have